Open mic session is designed to provide an opportunity for citizens to express their views on matters of concern to the school committee. The sessions are not designed to encourage debate or lengthy exchange of views, but are to have the committee understand numerous points of view. The committee would appreciate speakers keeping their presentation to 3 minutes in order to accommodate as many people as time permits. The chair reserves the right to limit the number of speakers on the same topic to 3. All speakers must be at least 18 years of age or enrolled in a high school in the Lynn Public Schools District and having discussed their views with a student government representative. The chair reserves the right to rule the speaker out of order if they feel that the speaker's comments are personal in nature. If a speaker's comments are directed at a school committee member or a member of school administration in attendance, that member through the chair may address the individual. The sessions will promptly commence 15 minutes prior to the start of the regular school committee meeting. Anyone wishing to speak at open mic? Anyone for open mic? Last call for open mic. We will close the open mic and move into the third regular meeting of the school committee. Roll call, please.
Member Castellanos, absent. Member Dugan?
Present.
Member Gately?
Present.
Member Pena?
Present.
Member Reed?
Present.
Member Satterwhite?
Present.
Mayor Nicholson?
Present. I would also like to welcome our current student representative, Julian Perdomo Guerrero. The English team actually shared some information about Julian. I hope she doesn't mind if we share that she is a former English learner who provides her with a unique lens by which she helps acclimate new multilingual learner students to the school and the country. She's continually challenged herself academically, choosing a course of studies that includes honors, advanced placement, and early college. She participates in Living in Two Worlds and Trio Talent and works part-time. And her post-secondary plan is to attend a 4-year college where she'll study social work. Yay. Which would be amazing. And she has been accepted to several institutions, including Merrimack College, Penn State, and UMass Boston, but has not decided yet where she'll attend. Congratulations. We're very excited to have you here. Welcome.
Excited to be here too. Thank you, guys.
Good. Okay, if you are able, if you could please stand for a salute to the flag and remain standing for a moment of silence.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence in memory of Edward D. Maloney, former teacher and guidance counselor, passed away January 21st, 2024. Estelle Revelotis, retired clerk, January 2024. Scott E. Staples, retired teacher, January 25th, 2024. And Mary E. Coolin, retired lunch aide, January 27th, 2024. Thank you. All right, next item is the minutes.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to accept the following minutes. Building and Grounds Subcommittee meeting on January 29th, 2024, and second regular meeting on January 29th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next, appointments and elections.
Can we do the nurses first, by any chance?
Of course.
We have 2 nurse elections. We are always very happy to get new school nurses. They are a big, important part of our district and our schools. The first nurse I'd like to recommend is Melissa O'Shea Burke. She's a BBA and an ASN.
Is the will of the committee?
I'd like to make a motion to accept Melissa O'Shea Burke.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Member Castellanos, absent. Member Dugan?
Melissa O'Shea Burke.
Member Gately?
Melissa O'Shea Burke.
Member Pena?
Melissa O'Shea Burke.
Member Reed?
Melissa O'Shea Burke.
Member Satterwhite?
Melissa O'Shea Burke.
Mayor Nicholson?
Melissa O'Shea Burke.
The second school election that would like you to approve is Leah Analetto. She's a BSN and an MSN.
I'd like to make a motion to bring forward Leah Analetto.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Member Castellanos? Absent. Member Dugan?
Leah Analetto.
Member Gately?
Leah Analetto.
Member Pena?
Leah Analetto.
Member Reed?
Leah Analetto.
Member Satterwhite?
Leah Analetto.
Mayor Nicholson?
Leanna Analetto.
Okay, and I am so incredibly pleased to share Dr. Alvarez's official appointment of Molly Cohen as Deputy Superintendent of the Lynn Public Schools. Yes, please clap. Molly has served as a teacher, guidance counselor, vice principal, interim deputy superintendent, interim executive director of curriculum, and now deputy superintendent. Molly is an invaluable source of energy and ideas, and she models how to lead with resilience, compassion, and direction during the most challenging and unprecedented period of our profession. She takes risks and brainstorms safe and effective ways to improve practices that will lead to equitable outcomes for all our students. Molly wears her moral imperative on her sleeve and quite literally sees social justice and race equity as a life or death situation. She models what a true leader is, always considering the humanity behind all that we do in education. She is a master project manager, creating systems to monitor the district's sustainability work and the professional learning that consistently is implemented as part of this work. She has a keen ability to identify key educators with leadership qualities and uses these staff members through distributive leadership to develop their skill set in becoming future leaders in education. She's a leader who digs into the work she believes in. She will be an invaluable support for her colleagues, and her passion for learning, her commitment to students, and her understanding of the human condition and the characteristics that distinguishes her as a strong educational leader. She's an educator who believes in lifelong learning, and her outlook on affecting change is compelling. It was with a unanimous decision that Molly Cohen was recommended to Dr. Alvarez to be chosen as our next deputy superintendent, and we are all so immensely proud of her and excited to see her journey in this work.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Molly.
All right, next we have a couple of presentations.
Oh, I'm sorry. First, we have Kevin Richardson from Food Services to share, and Kevin McHugh with Chartwells to share our delicious little
Yep. Thank you.
treat list today.
Today we're here to provide you an update on our food service program. Our goal has always been to provide a variety of healthy, fresh food options that equitably address the needs of all our students. I know we have a few new members, and I just want to go take a quick step back into the history to give you, how we got here today. So, since our elementary schools do not have full kitchens, we've always had to provide these schools with our pre-plated meals. When I first arrived here over 16 years ago, we were serving frozen meals that were thawed and then reheated and served to students. We've come a long way. We've moved up towards fresh meals, and every year we kept pushing the vendors to get better and better and better. So this past year, we had the contract went out for bid, and this year, we're pleased to announce that we have a new, Chartwells has been with as a subcontract, but this year they actually bid on the contract with a partnership with City Fresh Foods. And City Fresh Foods is new to the area, or they've been around, but this is like one of their first schools that were really majoring. And there's been a true partnership that we kind of called it a soft opening this year, just to see how it goes, because when you obviously get something new, there's going to be some bugs to work out. But so far, it's gone wonderful. They've been doing, they're going to talk about the presentation surveys of our students, because again, I always say, I don't want children to throw meals out. I want them to eat the meals, and we want them the best quality we can get. So this late fall, this probably early, right around the end of November, the mayor and I were lucky to go down to see their facility, get a tour of their facility in Boston, and get a walk through and meet the people that make the meals, which was very nice to see. And it was very impressive, and they were so proud of what they're doing for us. So tonight's kind of that update, what's happened from September to today. And with us tonight are, from Chartwell's, Kevin Richardson, who's been with us for a long time, Scott Valentino, and Tom O'Donnell. From City Fresh Foods, we have Henry Reinhardt, Eric Coons, Richard Keynes, and Raven Brown Campbell. So today I think Richard and Kevin are going to kick this off. It's a short presentation, but at the end, if there's any questions, we'll gladly, and I hope you all had a chance to try some of the meals. These are meals that the kids eat every day. So that's what we wanted to show you what they are eating, and hopefully, you enjoyed some of the samplings. With that, Kevin, it's over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for having us. We just wanted to run through a quick presentation for everybody to kind of give you an update, like Kevin said, on what's been happening in the schools, and especially how we're proud to announce our partnership with City Fresh Foods and what we're doing in the elementary schools. We'll get started and get right into it. So our first slide is basically just some updates of what what we're going to talk about tonight. Obviously, I'll turn it over to Richard here in a little bit, and we'll talk about City Fresh and their history and all about their company. We'll show some elementary survey results, because we're always out there in our schools talking to the kids about the meals that we're serving, and we're getting feedback directly from the kids. Next, we wanted to highlight, thank you. I wanted to highlight some a USDA program that we just expanded this year called the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. And then we'll look at a quick snapshot of participation up through the end of January. And then another grant that we applied for and got called Northeast Foods for Schools. And basically just talk about some things that are coming up next. And I'll hand it off to Richard.
Thank you. I know. Thank you. My name is Richard Keynes. I'm the Director of Client Success for City Fresh Foods. And I'm just going to give you a little background on who we are and kind of how we operate. So we were founded by Glenn Lloyd and Sheldon Lloyd back in 1994. And actually, we were founded out of need for delicious, healthy meals, as well as them being especially culturally relevant. We started in Glenn's apartment, which is not too far from what is now known as Nubian Square. I bring that up because again, at that time, Nubian Square was virtually a food desert, which is important to note. And so the need there was very strong to feed seniors and students. From that point, we moved to Four Corners, where we leased a building there in Dorchester. Many of you familiar with that. At that point in time, we were about 25, 30 people. And I note that because currently, at that building in Four Corners we leased, we currently own our own building and facility on 94 Shirley Street, which we designed and built from the ground up. And we currently employ 200 plus now. We are 95% minority employed, as well as we are employee owned. Actually, gentleman here, Robert Rodriguez, is the prep supervisor in the kitchen. He's also an owner. And so we also, one thing I'd like to note as well, we pay the Boston living wage or higher to every employee that is in our building. I'll tell you a little bit about, how our service. As Raven, I love a quote that Raven says where we service ages 0 to 100. But it's actually true. We do about 30,000 meals a day. We serve elders, elementary schools, high schools, and a host of other programs. But I would say our menus are, as many of you had a chance to try everything, our menus are an intricate dance between our dietitian and our VP of operations. For example, some of you that had the pastolone. It's not an easy thing to make a pastolone that fits into all the nutritional guidelines, but still tastes like pastolone. And they've been able to do that. It's been really wonderful. We make sure that all our menus have delicious and healthy options. Delicious and healthy options. And we try to we have several different menus, but the school menu has elements of the Caribbean menu, which has Jamaican beef patties, the pastolone, the curry chicken. And I want to note with the curry chicken, it is actually free of all 9 of the major allergies. And to that point, we know that children have allergies, so we do our best to have an allergen. We have a no allergen menu, and when I say that, we do our best to have it taste delicious. The curry chicken is delicious, and again, free of all 9 major allergens. And we're excited about a lot of things. Kevin McHugh talked about the tour that you had, so we encourage everyone to always come down. Any of you would like to come down and tour with us, we're going to start having. We'd like to have more tours with the students and the like. We'll start that in about March through May. We love having students come down. As Kevin stated, we like people to come down and see who we are and see that we are authentic to it. We have big viewing windows where you can see right into the kitchen. And what's really important about that is that the children can look in and see how everything's done. But more importantly, they can see people that look just like them. And that's one of our major missions, to make sure that we're doing that. And Kevin asked me, there's a young lady named Ana Perez, and she's one of our cooks. I love Ana, she's great. And she's from the Dominican Republic. And she takes her rice very seriously. And but again, that dance, that happens, so it's authentic and it's great. And as a matter of fact, too, we have generations there. Her son and her daughter also work for us as well. And there are many people that, generations been there 18 years, 20 years, things of that nature. But that's a little bit about who we are. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so our next slide is we just wanted to give a quick little snapshot of these are just some of the survey results that we've done in the elementary school since school has started. As you can see, we have the item that we actually was on the menu that day, and when we go out and survey, we actually go out, our team goes out, we have tablets that we bring out to the kids, we talk directly to the kids as they're sitting down at the table eating the meals. So these are directly from the kids. So we did Jamaican beef patty on the 19th of September, was favorable. A barbecue chicken lunch meal, oatmeal breakfast was a huge hit. That's one of our hot breakfasts. We serve hot breakfast twice a week here at the elementary schools. Our pasta dish is up there as well. And we did a cold lunch because we do every day. We have a hot item and we have a cold item. That's their choice they can have. That day was a cold choice, was a turkey sandwich lunch. And then we did a pancake and turkey sausage breakfast, also huge hit. And then we followed up with a crispy chicken sandwich, which was also nice. So we typically go out, as I mentioned, at least twice a month when we kind of rotate our schools around. So we're basically, including all of our schools. We're talking to all of the student bodies. We're not just focusing on a couple. So we keep track of that and we make sure that we hit everybody. Next slide. No, it's not working. Here we go. So I wanted to jump right into a program called Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. This is a USDA-funded program. The purpose of it is to introduce students to introduce them and have them encourage them to try fruits and vegetables and new fruits and vegetables. And it's a little bit different than lunch. It has to be served outside of the lunch period and breakfast period. So we work with the school principals, and we kind of work it into the schedule when we can do it. And just so, the reason why it's up there and we're highlighting it is because we typically had 5 elementary schools. This is only an elementary school program. And we've had this program for a long time, and every year there's an application process, and we try to add more on. And unfortunately, they would get denied, as the budget comes back and says, it's denied. So getting new schools was always a hard task. The one thing that happened this summer was that USDA came out and just said, all your Lynn schools are now eligible. So we took advantage of it, and with that, we were given over $350,000 to run this program. And those funds, basically, you spend it on it pays for your food costs, any kind of equipment costs you have with it, because these are little snack size, like samples of, you get your basics, but then you get your mangoes, you get your papayas, and so you kind of mix it up and you give them a very good variety. It's all packed in insulated cooler bags and it's delivered directly into the classroom. And there's involvement with the teacher as well once it gets there as well, because the next piece that's required is nutrition education. And in your packet too, there's a sample of it. That day, whatever it is, We include little fun facts about the meal. I think I gave you grapefruit and some papaya maybe, jicama as well. So it's a little fun education piece to get kind of, tie the kids into it as they're trying it as well. And it's been a really successful program. Oh, that's right. There we go. The next piece, we just wanted to kind of give a snapshot on participation overall in our schools. Not only the elementary, but we get some secondary numbers as well. So this is up until the end of January, since we're into February now, so we had those numbers, so we included it. And as you can see, there is an increase across the board on our average daily participation. These are meals that are sold every day in the schools. So we are climbing in the right direction, and we continue to climb, every month. So it's good. Very touching.
It's temperamental. It's not you.
Well, that's why I brought one up here.
You can click the laptop.
It's not hooked up to the laptop. It's on a flash drive. That's gonna go all the way back out.
Yeah, it's gonna go back.
Maybe in the middle, hit in the middle. It's weird.
There's a teacher coming to the rest.
Here comes Mr. Gallo. Our compliance officer will make sure we're compliant.
Oh, we're taking a picture of it, that's why.
Oh. Hey, thank you very much.
Charlie got it.
So our next slide, we just wanted to mention that we also, we got a $25,000 grant for what's called the Northeast Food for Schools. It's a new federal program, a federal grant that came out over the summer as well. We were able to apply for that, and we were granted $25,000. And basically, that's just to encourage use of local produce, anything that's local. It says grown and raised within 400 miles. So what we're doing with that is we were able to partner with the Worcester Regional Food Hub for local produce, and they actually go out and they have local farms that they actually get all of their vegetables from and their produce. So we're able to bring that in on a weekly basis, and we serve it in the schools. This week, I think actually either maybe today or yesterday, we did roasted cinnamon butter squash, and that was from Hadley, Mass. So it's directly in Massachusetts. We're bringing it in. We're sharing that with the kids. We're telling them this is where your food is coming from. We're giving them a little feedback on that. So that was a great grant that we're able to take advantage of. Perfect. Real quick, some things that we continue to work on, and we will be working on. What was included here was we do obviously do surveys in our secondary schools. Those are they're a little more comprehensive. They're asking a lot of more questions. We go out with our team as well. We set up in the cafeteria. We encourage them to come on up, give us their feedback. And so we do, again, same thing with the elementary schools. We're out there every month. We're out in the secondary schools every month as well, looking for more feedback. Actually, today we were just at the Marshall Middle School doing our survey. Oh, you can go back. Thank you. Sorry. So what's coming up in March is our National School Breakfast Week, and that's going to be from March 4th to 8th. And what we do is just we promote obviously school breakfast, says it's very important. We have fun little activities, especially in our elementary schools. Get them interested in, and making sure that they know that breakfast is available to them every single day. And for those that happen to come in late, we also have our second breakfast program. So anybody that comes in, whether it be on time or late, a breakfast is always available to them. Our next is, I threw some slides up there. That was actually from one of the Lynn Woods, I think, our Mood Boost. Mood Boost and Discovery Kitchen, those are Chartwell's platforms that we use. Just kind of promote something, whether it be a recipe or tasting something. So it's just, the Mood Boost is more geared towards the little kids because it comes with fun characters and whatnot. In the Discovery Kitchen, you can see it pretty much looks like a kitchen setup, so it's kind of, our older crowd. And then Leah McFarland, who was our resident dietitian, she's always out and about every time that she can make herself available to do nutrition educations. That happens every week. And then I put our copy of one of our newsletters on there because we do a monthly newsletter, and that's posted on our district website every month. I just happened to post the February one today, actually. So that one, it kind of wraps up our previous month of what we've done, what we're going to be doing the following month, and actually there's a recipe of the month as well that we focus on. That's posted there as well. And that is it. Thank you, and open to any questions.
Member Pena, Member Reed.
Thank you very much for the presentation. My colleagues and I, we were able to taste some of the foods, and I really appreciate it. It was very cultural, relevant, especially when we have a very diverse community in Lynn. And I like the fact that you have tours and you open them up. I love tasting food, just in case you didn't know. I got a new partner. We'll be signing up. Also, when the $350,000 grant, it's always good when you're bringing money to our schools. I really appreciate that. And also, I was looking at the educational piece here. This is like a sample. I think that's amazing. It's awesome. And you can identify and understand other cultures. And when you have those conversations, it makes you, culturally competent, and understanding other cultures and growing together, And I have a question. Are you able to predict or be able to put out a menu for some of the parents ahead of time?
I'm sorry?
Are you able to put out a menu ahead of time?
So our menus come out usually we try it about 15 days, or sometimes it'll be a month, but usually 15 days before.
About a 2-week month? Okay, in advance. Because I get a lot of calls sometimes. They don't know what's going to be served, and people just people ask questions, and a lot of constituents and students. And I just want to talk about the $25,000 grant is excellent, especially when they're able to use our local resources, which is always great, and working together locally. This is awesome, man. I really appreciate the presentation. It was very well informed, very transparent, and I'll be looking forward to go up there, get a tour.
Member Pena,
Dominicano, I appreciate the rice.
the menu's online too. Kev, what's that under? It's on our website. We promote the monthly menu.
Yep,
right?
it's actually on our the website. So if you go to LPS District website under the food service department, there's a link. One of the tabs is for menus.
Yeah, so you update every 2 weeks, or you can every couple
It's monthly, so yeah, it's
it's
probably
monthly.
the like 2 weeks out of the new month. We try to get it up there and post it.
Member Reed.
Very much.
Member Gately. Yep.
I was going to make the same joke as Lenny, so I'm glad you included me in yours, so I don't have to make it again. I do like to eat. I had a quick question, kind of two similarly related questions. The first one is, when I had met with some of the Muslim groups here in Lynn, they had concerns that the halal food kind of wasn't up to standards. I know Member Gately has worked on that issue since, and you've done a great job at, fixing that issue, so really appreciate that. I guess when it comes to those situations, if there's specific allergies, specific or religious requirements or other things like that, how does that process go about? Do you look into your menu and see where the modifications could be made, or could you just talk a little bit about that?
Sure. There is on that the website I was just talking about. There is a food accommodations form.
Great.
So if we're not only for religious reasons, for medical reasons too. That's obviously a big one too with allergies and everything. There's the whole process is laid out how that should go, and we obviously we deal with the nurses on an everyday basis as well. So it's basically just communicating that to us. We'll include the nurses should probably know about that as well. So sometimes they'll come in and they'll start the conversations as well with us, and it's just about putting those accommodations in place. And that's all it is. Great. So it's just a quick conversation.
Great. Awesome. And then my second question, we've obviously had some issues in Lynn, or some concerns in Lynn about the quality of the food over time. What would happen, or how would you go about if you get some report of, from a parent or a student about food not being up to standards in terms of, expired or some type of mold or things like that?
What we'd obviously investigate right away. Obviously, we take that very seriously, so wherever that was coming from, what school, we'd go directly out there. We have quality controls in place, there are production records, temperature logs, so there's all sorts of checks and balances that we will go through and investigate.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Member Gailey.
Well, I want to thank you for your presentation, and thank you for the trial. They were very good. Unfortunately, I caught a little glitch right away, but that won't happen in our schools. I hope you know about the chicken. So I'm glad that you're surveying. I'm glad that you're in the schools. I'm glad that you're looking and seeing how children are liking the food, because you know what we've been through, and I'm glad you're on board with our school system. There's just a question I have on this, on the fruit. Is that like a snack? Or is it like, can I finish? Sure. Is it like a snack? Can they take home fruit? Or how would that work into their day if it's not given at lunch or at breakfast?
Unfortunately, it can't be taken home.
Right.
And it's not really, I think actually.
Do you want me to speak
Sure.
to it? We were actually the first school.
Yeah, exactly.
Christina and I were the leaders of the school at the time. We called it the Healthy Brain Break.
Oh.
They typically come in little snack size portions, little Ziploc bags, little plastic containers. The lunch staff or breakfast staff, they have the thermal bags for each classroom. They put the number of, snacks in it. It comes up to the classroom. It ends up being like a working snack, right? So typically it falls anywhere from like 9:30 to 9:30 to 11, like in that window.
Yep.
And when it arrives, the classrooms typically have a routine. A student who's in, who that's their job, goes and gets the bag. Everybody gets their snack. They sit back at their desk. The learning is still happening while they're having it. To Kevin's point, you can't send it home because we don't have refrigerators in our classroom, and so we do dispose of anything that's left over. But I got to tell you, when it's something they really enjoy, it gets eaten. It's a great program. I'm so thrilled that it's at all the schools now.
Yeah. And it's meant to be like a sample, so it's not really considered a snack size. It's just a sample, so it's introducing them to it.
Oh, thank you very much.
Member Dewey.
Thank you. And I'm just excited to be partnering with a company with such a strong moral compass as what you described. So that's great news for us. You mentioned in your presentation more comprehensive surveys at the schools. Could you just be a little more specific about what you might be doing in terms of those?
Sure. So what I meant by that is it's asking them more involved questions. How many times do you participate? How many times a week do you take a school lunch? What do you like about school lunch? Do you like the cafeteria? Do you like is the staff friendly? All those are just encompassed into it. And it's also a spot in the survey for suggestions.
Okay.
What would you like to see more of?
Okay. That'd be interesting what a first grader would write for. Well, cookies. Thank you.
Well,
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for the presentation, for all the work and thought that goes into this, and also to all of our students for sharing their feedback. I know that you all take that very seriously, and we need them to do it in order to act on it. So appreciate that, and I would highly recommend the tour.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That I don't know, I'll be up there.
Next item is the 6 through 12 STEAM Academy.
Yes, we have Dr. Shannon Gardner here, who will share with the committee the beginning work around developing a 6 to 12 STEAM Academy. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Gardner. Decorum is awful. Shannon,
I definitely need that mic. I've been told to speak up. Okay. So this presentation is about a Lynn STEAM Academy that is in the design phase, designing for a 24/25 launch. And the slash is there because we don't know if we can open in 2024. Okay, so Lynn Public Schools is designing the Lynn STEAM Academy, and that's not necessarily going to be the name, for secondary grades with the projected opening in the fall of 2024 with the possibility of fall of 2025. We're exploring the Fecto Leary facility as a potential site for this academy, given that we have currently under 100 students there and have the potential for 800 student seats. This is planned to be a school for all and a model of 21st century learning. LPS has contracted the Center of Arts and Scholarship as project facilitators to support school leaders, faculty, staff, students, parents, and community members in the design of the STEAM school. This school will have a robust STEAM program with careful attention in the design process to the specific needs of multilingual learners and special education students within the STEAM context. The timeline for the project is January through May, with 12 design sessions leading to the launch. So it's already underway, which I'll explain more. Our expert consultants that are working with us are Professor Linda Nathan of Harvard University and the founder of Boston Arts Academy, Professor Beth Bolero of Mass College of Art, who's also a visual artist, Professor Brian Gravel, Director of Elementary STEAM Education at Tufts University and recognized STEAM expert, Caitlin Doobie, Organizational and Programmatic Design expert, and Ramiro Gonzalez, a STEAM consultant and science educator who formerly taught at Boston Academy of the Arts. The design team is working in phases. We began the work with the following team to represent the instructional departments in LPS and principals of schools in close proximity to the Fecto Leary facility. So you can see there, we have Principal Julie Loof, Principal Anthony Fry, Lisa Cullivan from Covet. We have various members of the curriculum department, Amanda Campbell of MLE, Bobby Bishop of DEI, Deputy Molly Cohen, Deputy Marisol Goris. I don't want to leave anyone out, but you can see it's a big list, and the attempt here was to make sure that we have representation there for people who have to think about all of the instructional elements, the design elements of the school. Phase 2 is to widen the circle, and in some of our first activities, we spent some time saying who's not here, who needs to be here, who really needs to be part of the development of the school and have a say in the development of the school. So that includes current Lynn teachers, and specifically we want to say that we're hoping we can have a representative from the Fecto Leary third floor program, an LTU leader, students, parents, and guardians, local community organizations, LPAC parents, higher ed partners, Salem State, North Shore Community College, Tufts, and Mass Art, arts organization, the Lynn Cultural District, Raw Arts, Lynn Arts, Peabody Essex Museum, and also recent alumni in STEAM fields. We're not limited to this list in terms of the community partners and educational partners that I listed, but those are ones that were discussed in the group. So the why for this school is a few reasons. We have high schools that are oversubscribed, and we want to utilize our space to the best of our ability to mitigate this overcrowding. And this is a problem that for which a solution is a long time coming. While we do that, we want to be thoughtful and thorough in the design process so that we're creating valuable opportunities for students in LPS. STEM programming with arts education in the center is innovative programming, and we have an exciting chance and opportunity to work with educational experts, educational partners, students, teachers, everyone I mentioned. And another important factor is that the workforce needs that are projected in Massachusetts. So according to mass.gov, 21% of the total Massachusetts workforce is employed by a STEM industry. This is higher than the nation's average, which is 14%. Adjusted for population, Massachusetts has more demands for STEM jobs than almost every other state. Based on projections to 2028, the number of STEM jobs is expected to increase by 7.2, accounting for 40% of the total expected employment growth in the Commonwealth. The STEAM school will help us increase access to STEM jobs for our student population, who are the workforce of tomorrow. We're already working hard on several fronts to increase career readiness and college degree attainment. A well-designed STEAM academy will give rise to even more opportunity, access, and ultimately participation in STEAM careers, because we really need exciting educational programs to spark interest in those fields. Okay. As part of the design process, we will work together on developing a mission, vision, and theory of change. And here's an example of vision and mission ideas for a STEAM school. Sample vision. Lynn STEAM Academy nurtures a community of designers to use creativity, critical thinking, and experimentation to realize future pathways. Sample mission components, creating safe environments where students can experiment and fail. Learning by doing, providing choice, space, and resources, creating conditions for innovation and improvisation, student-based leadership where all voices are heard, and student exhibitions of learning. As I've stated, the design process will happen in phases. Currently, the team is working on vision, mission, and design and learning together by visiting other school sites. When that second phase come in, they will have full participation in that process as well. To give you just a window into our recent visit to Boston Arts Academy, I want to share that it was a beautiful facility. You can see from this picture a music room that overlooks Fenway Park. It was stunning to see all the dedicated spaces to music, art, and design. However, the people who are working with us, including the founder of Boston Arts Academy, shared with us that that facility is new, and that they said years and years ago it didn't start that way. They started in an older building with a dream, and that was really encouraging for our team to hear. Here, some of our team is learning from a humanities teacher who's showing us how Boston Arts Academy is set up in terms of how they logistically approach all the content areas and dovetail with music, art, and design. We toured an exhibition space where students display their work and give and receive critiques. This particular piece you see in the photo explores the themes of being paranoid and hopelessness. The student includes drawings of a figure in goggles and labels of different moods. The student has done also in that piece is a creative rewriting of The Raven, an Edgar Allan Poe poem that captures the themes the student is exploring. And lastly, the student has developed a typography which shows the letters as being organic and thorny, also in keeping with the intended themes. This one example I'm showing you captures so much about what we are learning about what can happen when you put arts in the center of STEM education. There is so much creativity and expression coming forth in the student work that we saw, in the school that married more than one content area. Students we spoke to at the school said they felt like they were in a school where they belonged and they were respected for their uniqueness. This is very moving to our team, and we can see things that are very important for each department to know about in co-creating a school with students at the heart of the design. Coming to the conclusion of my update, we look forward to expanding our team to include Phase 2 members in the coming weeks. Our hope is to learn together in the process and create something together that becomes an amazing learning center for students. I'm personally very excited about the process and am impressed that Dr. Alvarez has brought us together with experts who share fresh perspectives and valuable knowledge. I will share one last thought. Our consultant most recently shared a PBS article with us titled, "How Can We Bring Creativity and Imagination Back in the Classroom?" Describing the notion that though we think of ourselves as being part of the information age, all the technological changes that have occurred has ushered in greater possibilities for creativity and even greater changes. And they say we are moving into the imagination age. Our work of today in education is acknowledging that and bringing creativity and imagination forward in our designs. STEAM design work inspires us to remember that creativity and imagination are vital to students in their thinking and learning process. I think that's a great thought, and I'm very happy to be a part of this exciting work for LPS.
Thank you.
Thank you. Member Gately, Member Satterwhite, go down the line. Looks like everybody. All right.
Well, with my background in science education and spending, I think, 5 years teaching Introduction to Engineering Design, CAD drawing, and knowing that in 2013 was when STEAM first came into view, adding arts to STEM was 10 years ago, 11. I am so thrilled that we are moving forward with this. I have seen firsthand students that when you guide their education, when you help their education, they grow leaps and bounds. Not everybody in a classroom starts at the same spot, and every educator in the state of Massachusetts knows that some people are not way up here and some people are not way down there. It's a balancing act for an educator in a classroom. And I'm thrilled, and I know Dr. Alvarez knows that I'm thrilled to see that this is happening. I look forward to what we may see someday in Lynn Public Schools. It has been a vision that I had, as you know, Dr. Gardner, with video games. I aligned. My master's thesis was on video games aligned to the biology standards, and I'm thrilled, and thank you very much. And I know that we may not get everything done all at once, like Dr. Alvarez's vision. I know everything is predicated on, can we get this building, what's happening here, so it's all staggered. But the bottom line is we're moving in the right direction, and thank you for this presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Member Satterwhite.
So I just have a quick question on, I know that this program is 6 through 12. What's the plan to incorporate this in early education? Are we going to be maybe setting a track for students to move forward towards the program?
So one thing Dr. Alvarez says a lot to us is that we have to determine the progressions. So she's talking about, we're creating kind of from the secondary back on some of these things. And so what is the progression? So that's very much in the forefront of her thoughts and what she says to us. And so I believe that is going to be coming forward as part of the design. If you have these students that, what she says is, we're going to have students that are immersed in STEAM. They're going to be going on to all these different kinds of opportunities. So we want them, one of the things she has said is we want them reading music at a certain grade level, so that they're ready for these opportunities.
Got it. Thank you.
Member Reed.
Thank you, Dr. Gardner, for this. And, I think we all know that our pathways and it need some updating. So this is great stuff, and appreciate your commitment to innovation, your team's commitment to innovation, as always. I guess my question or my concerns is kind of maybe outside your purview, but do we know where this is going physically?
The school itself, we are looking at the Fecto-Larry site.
Yeah, that's because I think it changed from our first presentation to this one. So I just wanted to make clear so people understand that Fecto is being considered for this.
Yeah.
Okay, I just think there's concerns, and I've gotten a lot of calls and emails and passed by conversations in the last few weeks where people kind of just feel in the dark because this is kind of a huge undertaking for, Fecto is not in the best condition, especially when it comes to, so I just hope we can get some more communication on the physical infrastructure and logistical side of it, because there's 90 kids there now and everything of that. So I know
that Dr. Alvarez has a plan a communication plan. We have a lot of moving parts right now, and everything is a process that requires approvals along the way.
domino effect. I get it.
Right,
Yeah.
and so your point is valid.
Yeah.
People need to hear, need to be able to give input, need to be able to ask questions. And
Yeah.
so when we think about all the different projects that
Yeah.
are happening, or, that are in the plans to happen, that needs to happen, and there is a plan to do that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Member Pena.
Thank you, Dr. Gardner. Thank you for I appreciate the presentation. I want to thank everyone involved, all the stakeholders involved. You mentioned all the people involved, and that was just a great representation of what our district is. And I just want to really take the time to thank everyone who's involved, trying to move us forward. And you said the number you said you might be able, when this is done, you might accommodate about 800 students. Is that what it was? Up to about 800?
That's kind of a max seat count. And there's been more than that in that building at one time.
Yeah. I'm fully aware of
And
that.
so we're just noting that there's a lot of space utilization needs to be looked at.
Yeah, and that's amazing. That's working with what we have right now, and to solve some of the overcrowding and stuff. And I really like that. I like the fact too that you're going to have surveys with the parents and students and caregivers. Is that what you mentioned? Yeah, it's important to have their voice and their input on it. And so many grants available with the STEAM, and
Yes.
I really love that. I like the idea. It's a great thing, and we're moving in a great direction. And I think we're doing the best of what's available right now. I think we're doing good with what's the space we have, and we're moving forward. Let's making use of what we have. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Member Dugan.
So thank you, Dr. Gardner. And really, I just kind of want to echo what many of my colleagues say, especially Member Reed. The logistic part, and very excited for a STEAM program. It's needed. We're thinking outside of the box and using our space creatively. So all these things are, checking a lot of the boxes that I think are very important work that needs to get done. So I do appreciate that. But I just, I think it's also very important that the community is kept in the loop. Like Member Reed, I have gotten a lot of questions. There's some rumblings about what might be happening at Fecto. So I think it's just important that we're kept in the loop, and so that we can keep the community up to date too. But aside from that, very excited for all of this. I think it's a great opportunity for us to, like I said, use our space creatively and present something for our students that's gonna bring them into the future. So appreciate all the work that's gone into it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think this is a really exciting update. I'm thrilled about the vision. I think it's exciting, and our students deserve these kind of opportunities. And I think our teachers deserve the kind of opportunities that to shine. And I think we're fortunate to have the folks involved, and also fortunate to have these opportunities coming up for more folks to get involved. And I think we all recognize that we're gonna all need to work together to figure this out. This is one of those issues where we're gonna need the community's collective will and imagination and patience, and at times sort of brainstorming and problem solving as hurdles come up, because we're embarking on a very ambitious journey, and like I said, our students deserve it, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And we're an ambitious city, so I think we can do it. But we're going to all have to work together to get there, and we're excited to be on that journey with you all. Thank you, Dr. Gardner.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to ask a question on behalf of Julian here. You sure you don't want to ask it yourself? Okay, I'll ask it. All right. So Julian's wondering if we take the Fecto building, where would the students go? Would they stay? Would they be going somewhere else? That's the first part of her question.
I'll take that.
She's got tough ones coming.
Thank you. So again, we're in the phase one, very beginning development. I think we all know that our high schools are way overcrowded. We have heard for a number of years now. I know last year as superintendent here, heard a lot of rumblings about high class sizes and over 2,000 students in schools. Something has to happen, right? We all know that the Fecto O'Leary building is a very old building. It was the original classical. It is. Right? And so there are pieces of that building that need to be worked on, but that costs a lot of money. Dr. Alvarez has thought through, there's only so many moving parts and places that make sense for students to be moved to. And so right now, there is a consideration, no final decision has been made, that we want to give the alternative high school students opportunities that they don't currently have in the Fecto building. So if they moved, let's say, to the LVTI annex, they now have access to vocational programming and develop a skill that then gets them into a job set, right, or a workforce. So there's a lot of moving parts there. Space has to be considered. Utilization of buildings. I will tell you, and the mayor knows this from and so does Member Gately, the MSBA project for Pickering. MSBA, it's a fairly new thing that they are requiring districts and cities to do, utilization studies of their buildings. Because for years, we've been building brand new buildings across this state that are beautiful and expansive and have all these wonderful spaces. But at many points in the day, they're empty. So MSBA is now saying, you need to do a utilization study around how often is our spaces being utilized. And their percentage that they're looking for is 90% or higher. Wow. So I would say at classical and English, they're probably at 100%. Because there is no space left. Every room, every space is being used every moment of the day. And so it is time, we're going to have to look at LVTI. What's the utilization of that building? Are there opportunities to shift things? And change is hard. Absolutely. But again, we're at a development stage. No final decisions have been made. A lot of thought is being put into this. And the key there is the communication, right? And I know people are frustrated because they want to know. But we don't want to give information and then say, oh, wait a minute, no, it's not going to happen that way. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that we know what we're communicating before we communicate it. Communication to you all, different story. Okay? That will be adjusted.
Good. All right. Julian says thank you.
Just to kind of go off of something that Deb said, have we potentially explored with high success that we've had with the Discovery program, expanding the LVTI middle school program to 6th and 7th graders too?
I don't know. We have not talked about that. I would say space-wise, that would be difficult. If we're trying to expand high school space to alleviate the crowdedness in high schools, that would take seats. The other piece to LVTI is middle school age is not covered under Chapter 74 funding. So even the Discovery students can't be considered. We were hoping that we could do an 8 to 12 vocational school, it's not allowable. 8th grade, there's a certain age that the state requires. So doesn't mean that we're removing Discovery, but we had to shift in our thinking because of that. So unfortunately, as lovely as that would be and what a great opportunity, I think Dr. Alvarez, with the innovative thinking that she's trying to bring into our district, there's lots of discussions that she has about opportunities to bring into the middle schools. I know with Pickering, when we were talking about some of the design factors for, like, say, the Library Media Center, she had some great ideas around opportunities for kids while they're in that space, that it's not just a place to go and be on a computer or read a book, it's also a place where you can hands-on do things. She's looking to upgrade our science labs. Like, there's a lot of things that she's trying to bring in to enhance our children's experiences at the elementary as well.
Thank you, and thank you, Dr. Gardner, for the presentation.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
Gardner.
Sharon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a vote to submit a statement of interest to the MSBA for an accelerated repair project at Sisson Elementary School for windows and doors. We're joined by Special Services Director Mike Donovan, who is available to answer any questions. As the committee knows, we've had some great success with accelerated repair, and this is the next project that we are hoping to be able to accomplish in their accelerated repair program. There is a detailed motion that we need to make verbatim. So if we want to start there, we can get that seconded and then do any questions if you want to do that. Okay.
Hello, Mr. Donovan.
Good evening, everybody.
Are we ready? Okay, resolved. Having convened in an open meeting on February 8th, 2024, prior to the statement of interest closing date, the Lynn School Committee, in accordance with its charter, bylaws, and ordinances, has voted to authorize the superintendent to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest form dated March 1st, 2024, for the Sisson Elementary School, 58 Canomo Avenue, Lynn, Mass. 01904, which describes and explains the following deficiencies and the priority categories for which an application may be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority in the future. Replacement of windows and doors to allow for increased building security, reduce heat loss, increase energy conservation, and overall reduced energy consumption as priority statement of interest for the MSBA Accelerated Repair Program for 2024. And hereby further specifically acknowledges that by submitting the statement of interest form, the Massachusetts School Building Authority in no way guarantees the acceptance or the approval of an application, the awarding of a grant, or any other funding commitment from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or commits City of Lynn or the Lynn School District to filing an application for funding with the Massachusetts School Building Authority.
Longest sentence ever.
What?
Longest sentence ever.
It's done.
We got a second?
Second?
All right. Any discussion, questions? Okay.
Can I ask them?
Yep.
Okay, briefly, could you go over what this project will include for our Sisson population, the teachers, and, like what's going to happen here and why it is necessary?
Yes, ma'am. So this project is proposing to replace the windows and the doors at the Sisson School. This would be similar to the project that we've recently been approved for at the Druitt School, that we just completed at the Lynn Tech School, and was completed 6 or 7 years ago at the Breed School. The Sisson School was built in the 1950s. So it is one of our newer buildings. It's a building that, in reality, we need to keep for 50-plus more years before it catches up to where our older buildings already are. The bones of the school are in good shape. The roof was put on, I think, in 2006. We've made some improvements, lighting, flooring, ceilings, along the way over the last few years. The building is in the progress of being upgraded to be fully handicapped accessible. And what's left with this building is the building envelope. The windows are late 80s, early 90s. They're not very tight. And what I skipped is what we're doing this year, actually, is we're putting a new heating system in there for $4-point-something million that through the school department, they filed for a grant, and we're able to get this grant for a new heating system and air conditioning. So the windows make the most sense because we're going to have a lot of leakage otherwise, because the windows have been repaired. There's new, 4 or 5 years ago, we put glazing in them and we replaced the hardware, but they're not functional as they should be. So this will allow for better security at the school with new doors, but will, more importantly, increase the insulation on the building envelope and allow us to heat and cool the school more efficiently and effectively. So it's a win-win, because at this point, with the new heating system, with the newer roof and new windows and doors, this building will be in good shape for another 50 years. I mean, it's going to be right next to a brand-new middle school, and it will be getting the respect it deserves. I mean, it just needs some help right now. It's in line with the same thing we did for the Hood School, if you recall. Yeah. New roof, new windows, new doors, new heating system, and that school was a 1962 school, is good for another 50-plus years.
We're just going to take a quick recess?
Yeah,
Yep.
quick
Okay,
recess.
quick recess. Yep. Thank you.
Something just came up.
Thank you. Quick recess.
Thank you.
Ayes have it. Thank you to Wilbur Tracy, Meadow Farms, Harrington Trophies, and miscellaneous. Would the committee like to amend the agenda to move the executive session to the end?
I make a motion to amend the agenda and move it to the end.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. So, communications.
Okay, I'm going to invite Dr. Colella to come to the table. We received a letter from the Department of Education informing us that the Lynn Public Schools earned 28 out of 34 possible points on a rubric, or 82%, moving us to meets requirements for this year for the group.
It's for last year for a special education determination.
Thank you. So we just wanted to make you aware of it. I don't know if Dr. Colella, if you want to share some of the points that the department shared.
I don't know if you have any questions on any of the rubric items, but if you look at the special education state performance, annual performance report indicator 3, that is based on grade 8 MCAS scores for school year 22-23, and they look at the difference in scaled score between the subgroup for students with disabilities and all students, and we received full rubric points for that. And further down under compliance, because we did not have identification of non-compliance for anything under the special education indicators, we also received full rubric points for that.
Any questions?
I did.
Yep, Member Gately.
Christina, between you and Oscar, we are now in compliance in some areas of special ed, and I can't thank you enough, and I can't wait till we're completely, and we get all our circuit breaker money. Thank you. Thank you.
We're very much looking forward to that, and it's certainly a team effort, and we're lucky to have everyone working together on the team.
And I can't thank you enough.
Member Pena.
Thank you, Dr. Colella. Appreciate the work, and now that we're compliant, and your whole staff, your team, and looking forward to see go above these the measures. Looking forward to moving in that direction and probably getting some reimbursement.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Colella.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And can I go on?
Yep.
I'm going to invite Mr. Gallo up, Attorney Gallo. Charlie has been very, very busy with lots of other groups of teams that are working diligently to look at some of our policies and just have discussions around them. So I'm going to turn it over to Charlie Gallo and let him share and give you an update on the different committees that we have going on right now.
Thank you. So good evening, members of the administration, Mayor Nicholson, and school committee members. For the record, Charlie Gallo, Lynn Public Schools Compliance Officer. I believe you have in your packet correspondence, and I'll just sort of run through that with you today. But as Ms. Ruggiero said, things have been very busy. I think first I want to congratulate and highlight all the work that's been done by the policy subcommittees over the last few years, first under the leadership of Mayor Nicholson when he was then policy subcommittee chair, and currently under the leadership of Chairperson Dugan. So the policy manual is the most up-to-date it's been in many years. We have parsed out policy from procedure throughout, with a couple of areas that the superintendent is looking to address, and also a couple of unfinished items, so I'll go over those now. The first is policy IKF, which is graduation requirements. This, you may recall, was put on hold in December 2023 in order to allow some collaboration with the curriculum department. Since that time, that collaboration has occurred, and I want to inform the committee and subcommittee specifically that IKF could be visited and may be ripe to be visited soon. Okay. The former IKF talks about a minimum of 25 credits in each year of one's 4 years of high school, which is a real limitation. The new IKF that you'll see in the future proposes that we have an overall credit structure that aligns to Mass Common Core, and the idea there is that will allow us to provide more creative programming, alternative pathways to graduation, looking at students' age and background, and so that's an important one to consider soon if the committee is willing. In addition, Dorothy Presser left me with a tidbit on her policy BEDH, which is public participation at school committee meetings, and if the committee should have an appetite for it, a combining of that with your current open mic policy. So I'll pause there and then talk briefly about the other policy committees we have going to see if there are any questions at all. We're good. All right. So that our policies evolve with the times and don't become outdated, I've been asked by Dr. Alvarez to convene committees on 4 policy areas. One is the attendance policy. The second is the maximum age of school admission and maximum age of attendance policy. The third is the dress code. And the fourth is grading. The grading policy is actually been rejected. It was dated 1989. It's been revoked as a procedure, not policy item, so it's a function of putting that together. And the other 3 policies are policies that really need to evolve over time. Your letter includes, and I won't list them all, but a number of individuals who are active on these committees. And I also want to note that student voice is part of this through the cabinet. Deb, Ms. Ruggiero, Ms. Goris, and Bobby Bishop convened on dress code specifically with the student cabinet yesterday, and the teacher cabinet will be, of course, brought into the discussion as well. All throughout, I'm in touch with the mayor's office, in touch with Chairperson Dugan, and Mary Jules and I work very closely together always as well. Happy to answer any questions with all that being said.
Member Reed.
I don't know if this is a question for you, Attorney Gallo, or who it's a question for, but is this kind of standard practice to do an overview, a huge overview, or could you, over time do smaller updates? Is this common practice across different districts?
Yeah, I think that so Lynn Public Schools had, prior to this large overhaul, about 400 policy documents. And so I think we were sort of behind the 8 ball, as it were, in terms of doing periodic reviews. We've caught up to that. And now we're highlighting those few that should be looked at more often. But I hope not to have another policy dated 1989, next time I'm here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Of course.
Thank you to everyone involved. It's a large effort and important issue, so we appreciate everyone's work on that.
Thank you, Attorney Gallo.
Thank you. Good evening to all.
Looking forward to our work.
All right, that brings us to a request for executive session. If someone could read that full line there in the motion.
Request an executive session to discuss strategies with respect to collective bargaining relative to Lynn School Administrators Association. And this, do I go on? The discussion of these matters, which involve strategy in an open meeting, may have a detrimental effect on and compromise the bargaining position of the public.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Member Castellanos, absent. Member Dugan?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Pena?
Yes.
Member Reed?
Yes.
Member Satterwhite?
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson?
Yes.
Member Castellanos, absent. Member Dugan?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Pena?
Yes.
Member Reed?
Yes.
Member Satterwhite?
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson?
Yes. There were 2 MOAs that we are going to vote in the full committee that Attorney Greenspan will encapsulate.
Thank you, Mayor. The first memorandum of agreement is between the school committee and the Lynn School Administrators Association, and it is to voluntarily recognize 4 existing positions. These are not new positions, they're existing positions in the schools, but we're recognizing that they will be a part of the LSAA. The positions are Language Assessment Manager, Human Resources Systems Coordinator, Human Resources Manager, and Human Resources Generalist, all existing positions in the Lynn Public Schools.
Thank you. What's the will of the committee?
Make a motion to ratify the votes taken in executive session.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Member Castellanos, absent. Member Dugan?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Pena?
Yes.
Member Reed?
Yes.
Member Satterwhite?
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson?
Yes.
Make a motion to adjourn.
One
One more.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
The second memorandum of agreement is between the Lynn School Administrators Association and the Lynn School Committee regarding the data assessment and accountability team positions. This MOA recognizes a new position of data analyst, which is going to be a revenue-neutral position because there will be a open position of a assistant database manager. So this position will not increase, won't have a budgetary impact for this year, and doesn't have to for next year either, unless the committee changes its mind in filling an unfilled position in LSAA. And it also changes some of the job descriptions and qualifications of the current Assistant Director of Data Assessment and Accountability.
Thank you. What's the will of the committee?
Make a motion to accept the votes that were taken in executive session.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Member Castellanos, absent. Member Dugan?
Yes.
Member Gately?
Yes.
Member Pena?
Yes.
Member Reed?
Yes.
Member Satterwhite?
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson?
Yes. Member Gately, do we have any further business?
Let me see. No, make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.
Buenas noches.
Night, everybody.